Hello, everybody. Welcome to E2KGn30, episode number 30 for Thursday, February 15th, 2018. I'm your host, Osiris Prime, and tonight I have with me the tech guru himself, Mr. Agasicles Stamos. What's going on tonight?
Yeah, that's right. Same old, same old. Business as usual.
Nice. All right, tonight we're going to go through our news articles we found interesting from the past week, which, as I was mentioning to Mr. Gascles, was a little thin this past week, at least for me. Didn't find really too much. There's a few things out there though that I was able to get going here, and so has Agasicles. So first up, let's start with an article from IGN about Nintendo Switch. So this is coming from Nintendo France. They're reporting that EA seems to be satisfied with the FIFA Switch sales, which, if you remember, I don't want to say a few months, probably maybe like 6 months ago or so. There's a big kind of hubbub with EA and some other third-party developers and publishers that they were kind of going the way of, we're gonna see how our games sell on the Switch, and then we'll make a decision then, and see if we're gonna release more games. So looks like EA is pretty satisfied with the FIFA 18 sales. Now this 18 FIFA 18 wasn't a direct port of the PS4 and Xbox One games and PC. I believe it was on too. It was more of a custom built game, and I know it had some modes that were left out. I believe the story mode wasn't in there, if I remember correctly, which I guess a lot of people were kind of I don't want to say angry about, but just kind of disappointed just because it wasn't the full release. So, but it looks like if EA is satisfied with it, or as they mentioned here in the article, and this is coming from French outlet Le Numérique, and they're talking with the general manager of Nintendo French, Philippe Lavouille. He was saying that they test match the Switch was a test match for EA, which I guess just means they like what they saw. So it's good to hear. And I know Ubisoft actually mentioned in the article too. Ubisoft and Konami have been reportedly really happy with Switch sales, which I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what the Konami game is that was released. I don't know if you know that. I guess please. I don't remember any Konami games coming out, but
Nah, not right off the top of my head.
yeah, I was gonna look that up and I forgot. But yeah, it looks like third parties are happy with the Switch success. Obviously, indies are doing gangbusters on there, but even the bigger guys are starting to see come around, and hopefully we just don't get ports coming out. We'll get kind of custom built, kind of like FIFA 18 was, but custom built games that'll come out, and we'll reap the benefits as it were. But we'll see what happens. Any thoughts on the article?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a slow news week, right? I'm like,
Exactly.
so kind of like, well, no crap, EA, right?
Yeah, no.
Fastest selling gaming console, right? I mean, I guess it's more pertinent to them as far as like the specific uptake of FIFA. Um, but like, I don't know. It's just it's not just EA, but it's some of these companies that have been like, oh, we're in wait and see mode. Like after all of the like numbers of the install, what the install base is, and I think Capcom, I think is the one that I can think of most recently, who's been like, oh yeah, well, we're still, and I'm like, you you created like a third rate, like half baked like port of a previous fighting game that you've done, and it's still amazingly sold well on the Switch, but you're still in wait and see mode. So like, I just don't get it. I'm like, okay, great. Like, how about you shut up and crank out some games, right? It's kind of the way I feel about it, I guess.
Yeah, they did mention here, at least in France, that it sold 73,000 physical units, and Olivier was expecting that game it'll probably start selling a little bit better in the next few months in June when the World Cup comes out in Russia. So I mean, I'm assuming that's for worldwide, not just France, but yeah, and it's what is it? June 14th through July 15th is the World Cup. So we'll see. And I just want to give a shout out to Google Translator because I had to use that for the French outlet name because I wasn't sure, and the guy's last name. So thank you, Google Translator. All right, so let's jump here to the next bit of news. It was kind of exciting. Actually, Zeus, you stole this one from me because I was going to put it out there, but I didn't get there in time. So we got some THQ news here.
Yeah, and I would actually argue this, at least to me, was one of the most exciting. Probably the most. It's definitely my most exciting story that I have in the rundown for tonight.
Yeah.
You can call that fortunate or unfortunate. Maybe arguably I should have stuffed this in at the end. But THQ is they were a publisher that was near and dear to my heart. They were the purveyors of the 40K Dawn of War series. So lots of franchises came out of THQ that I was a big fan of. It was very sad to see them go away.
Saints Row.
Yes, not one of my particular favorites.
I'm just trying to name some. Red Faction.
Yes. So, but they obviously had to fold up shop about 3 years ago in 2014, if memory serves. And when it went down, they were obviously fractured and splintered to the winds. They were kind of broken apart piecemeal. They auctioned off their IP. So about 5, I think, I want to say, different publishers came through and kind of raided the pantry and made off with different pieces of IP, sometimes in sensible collected buckets, a lot of times not. In some cases, I think maybe IP was rolled back to a given developer and just rolled over to a different publisher or whatever. But then one of the, and I didn't have a chance to look this up, but one of the publishers that picked them up, I believe they rebranded themselves. They were under their old name and they weren't having a lot of success, so they chose to rebrand themselves to THQ Nordic. And I guess what I actually would like to see happen with these guys is in like a couple years, like drop the Nordic and just become THQ again, right? Like I don't even understand the point of why. But anyway, a Norwegian publisher, I guess.
Yeah, it was Nordic Games was the original name.
Okay, all right. So they're keeping their old legacy. So I can understand that.
Yeah.
But they rebranded themselves to THQ Nordic, hoping that their games would gain a little more traction in terms of marketing and branding with gamers. They recently, and they've kind of become like the darlings of the industry. They recently went ahead and bought, and I've never figured out. I'm assuming that this is Koch, because the other way to pronounce it would make it unsavory for a live podcast. So Koch Media, who picked up, who owns Deep Silver, the two of them, and I think Deep Silver is the more well-known name because when the 2014 stories were in run about the THQ shutdown, it was frequently referred to as Deep Silver, and then thereafter the media started using Koch more frequently, and I was like, who are these guys? Like when I go back to the articles and look at who bought what, like I don't see them. But Deep Silver does Dead Island and Metro, which is a great series that is due for an update here with Metro Exodus, and I hear excellent things about that so far. THQ Nordic has bought them out for about 121 million euro. I'm not sure what that translates to in dollars, and I'm not going to run into it tonight. But collectively, that gives THQ Nordic back, in many cases, Dead Island, Metro, Saints Row, and Homefront: The Revolution at a minimum. Now, they went on, so I'm sorry, so I guess THQ filed for bankruptcy in 2012. And I think the dissolution went down pretty quickly. So it's actually, I think it's been 5 or 6 years since they were broken up. So the big thing also is that apparently additional IP and yet to be announced games are in progress. THQ Nordic CEO Lars Wingefors says that there are about 4 AAA releases already in flight. One of those includes Metro Exodus. Volition Studios is working on a AAA release that is yet to be announced. And the Homefront studio is also working on a AAA release. So it sounds like not only is the band back together, but they've got a lot of big things coming out. And you kind of might want to think of THQ as a smaller publisher, and they are in comparison to the EAs and the Ubisofts and whatnot. But they put games out that really kind of move the industry around, right? Say what you want about Saints Row. but it's a recognizable brand, and it kind of was a significant um, uh, cross-platform title in console generation 7, and kind of played a lot with that concept of the really crazy open worldish gameplay. Um, and Metro is just not a huge title. I don't think it sells in huge numbers, but the beauty of its design, and the pride that development team has in being just a hardware punishing engine. I get a little worried when I heard this about them, but because it sounded a little bit like Crytek, where Crytek like was obsessive about um, building Crisis so that it would force people to upgrade, but that didn't play well because like then people got angry about having to upgrade just to play one game, because that game would not play well on lower end hardware. Metro tends to scale better, but when you turn all the lights up with Metro, like it punishes a PC. So even still to this day. So it's great to hear that they're bringing that to Metro Exodus, but it's good to hear that this particular band is back together. I don't know, Prime, are you a particular fan of THQ games or?
Yes, I was very excited about this announcement too. I did, yeah. I like. I played the first Dead Island on the 360, which it was fine. It was good.
Yeah.
I didn't get too deep into it, and I never played the Metro games. But like you said, they're supposed to be pretty good. I was big into Saints Row. I bought the first probably two. I think I have the third and well, I don't think it's called four. It might be called four. Fourth one, which I haven't played yet. But I always enjoy the Saints Row games. They're always fun. But the biggest one here, and what I really always enjoyed, was Red Faction, and I played it back on the PC. When it was kind of just a first person mode, and then all the way up to Red Faction Guerrilla, where it was it turned into a third person kind of action game, but and then it had all the destructible environments in there and buildings and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be very interesting to see if they hopefully they make a sequel to Red Faction Guerrilla, or just another Red Faction, even another game where they have that destructibility, just because it was just so cool at the time. And I've always really, I think I've said this in the past podcast, but I always enjoyed the multiplayer, which I thought was really underrated, because they had like special backpacks and stuff that you can pick up and do things maybe that now it's probably it doesn't seem like anything, but back then I thought it was pretty cool. So you had special powers and different powers you could do and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see if they, at the very least, maybe do like a remake, or not a remake, but a remaster maybe of Red Faction Gorilla. We'll see maybe if they spit that out sometime down the line. But yeah, I'm very interested. I'll definitely keep a close eye on this, and see where all these different studios, what they come up with. I know Homefront wasn't exactly well received in its past iteration, and then even the new one with the Revolution. But supposedly it's supposed to be pretty good now. I guess they've done a lot to it. They've updated it a lot, so maybe I'll give it a second chance. So we'll see where that goes.
Very cool, very cool. So you wanted to, so now I think we've got well, no, I thought there were back-to-back stories about Twitch, but we have two stories that involve Twitch tonight, and so Prime can lead off with the first of those.
Yes. So this one comes from Game Industry Biz, which I'm not. I don't frequent this site too often, so I don't know. I found this article kind of weird, maybe, but basically, it's reporting on Twitch saying how it had a record breaking viewership this past January, which it even surpassed CNN and MSNBC numbers. So for the month of January, it peaked out at 962,000 concurrent viewers. And that's 22% spike compared to January of last year, and a 26% increase from December of 2017 also. And then they kind of break down some numbers here for basic cable news channels and sports channels. So like Fox News and ESPN, they usually do about 1.5 million viewers, and then that's followed up by MSNBC, which is 885,000, and CNN at 783,000. So it was pretty good bump of viewership that they had, and they obviously a little bit lower from Fox News and ESPN, but still they beat out MSNBC and CNN. I mean CNN's pretty big, pretty popular and well known channel. So But then the kind of weird thing, and this is coming from the guy's name now. This was stuff that they acquired, or excuse me, data that they acquired from Macquarie. Um, a Macquarie analyst, Benjamin Shatter, something like that. And he was reporting these numbers, and he kind of goes on to say, with kind of the second half of the article, they're like, hey, Twitch did good, but they're saying January was kind of maybe an anomaly of sorts because there were a few things that happened during January, such as the League of Legends. I'm sorry, the return of an infamous streamer, Tyler One, which I've never heard of him. I guess he's a League of Legends streamer. He's had, I guess, record-breaking viewership in the past, like 300,000 concurrent viewers at one point. And then also the Overwatch League started up in January, so let's see, within the first 4 days there was 10 million people tuning in, across those 4 days. And then also the last thing they mentioned is the Sea of Thieves closed beta, which was closed beta, but they opened it up, for streamers to stream the game. So that was about peaked up at about 150,000 viewers at a time. So it was, I just thought it was kind of, weird that they they're like, hey, and then they kind of like smashed him with a hammer at the end, just saying, well, it was good, but maybe this is kind of an anomaly, potentially, kind of, sort of. So I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, that's still, I mean, that's pretty good news that something like Twitch, and we've talked about this last year, and actually probably the last couple of years, how for us maybe we might not be that viewership that they're looking for, but obviously the generation coming up here playing games, and that's the big thing now, is to watch people play games. You got League of Legends, you got Overwatch, you have I was gonna say Hearthstone, not Hearthstone, kind of the MOBAs and stuff like that. They have the big tournaments and competitions, so those are always being streamed. I know they do a lot of streaming on the various what do you call them, conventions, and they had the Game Awards on there, so it's doing big business. So we'll see how that goes. And I don't know if Gasicles is having some issues. Maybe it looks like, but I'll jump to my next article, and then if he wants to comment on this, he can do that when he comes back. So my next article is from IGN, and it's about Monster World. Excuse me, Monster Hunter World is one of the fastest selling games in Capcom's history. So they have, let's see, this was from the 9th, so last Thursday, I believe. Excuse me, last Friday, February 9th. They at that point they had shipped, or actually the first 3 days they had shipped 5 million copies, and then up to that point on the 9th they had shipped 6 million copies altogether. Now obviously that's shipped, that's not sold, but if I guess they're kind of assuming, obviously if they're shipping more copies, they keep shipping out copies, then they're selling fairly well. They didn't say any sold through numbers in this article, but according to Capcom, it's doing it's one of the fastest selling titles in their history, and they mentioned here that it's currently, or at the time it was currently number two, let's see, I think it was number one on the Xbox paid game category. Which, if you don't know, on Xbox they kind of break out categories, like most played, most paid games played, most free games played, stuff like that. So this is on top of the paid games. It's number one, followed by PUBG. So I knocked out PUBG, and then on the PlayStation Store, it's number one also on that store. So, and a couple of things here. They do mention to celebrate, the release of Monster Hunter World. They were offering, and this is in the UK side at least. I don't know if there's an American equivalent, but they're offering £50,000 prize to anyone who can produce evidence of a real life monster. So hey, if you live in the UK, or in that area over there, go looking out for I don't know, I don't know what's over there. I guess Bigfoot, or some aliens, or big giant cats or something. I know that's a big thing over there, I guess. But yeah, so there's that, and then what was the other thing that was kind of weird? I can't find it right now, but they also just go on in the article to say that they're going to be supporting the game further with free updates, so that's good, which would include free monsters and such. So I don't know what the such is. Maybe different modes. Um, I'm not sure if there's any other modes other than just kind of going out and hunting the monsters, or I'm not sure if there's co-op. I'm pretty sure there is. So I'm not sure what else they can add other than monsters and probably weapons, maybe just some customization stuff, skins and stuff like that. So um, and then also they're hoping the numbers will still bump up even further later on in the year in the fall of 2018 that they're going to release on the PC, which kind of wondering why they didn't release on the PC right away, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, I mean it's good to see. We kind of mentioned before, and actually there was another article on how they're asking them, hey, would this be able to come out to the Switch? And pretty much said, it might be kind of difficult. So we'll see what happens. I think they released a Monster Hunter game on the Switch in Japan. I don't think it ever came over here. This is not as far as I can remember. I'll have to do some quick research here in a few minutes, but we'll see if an iteration, maybe not so much Monster Hunter World, but another Monster Hunter comes out on the on Nintendo system, which pretty much when it first came out, um, and the series as a whole, it was pretty much exclusive Nintendo. I know I jumped over to PlayStation, at least on the PSP. I remember that was actually the first one I bought was on the PSP, or first time I played it. So it was fine for what it was. I wasn't kind of into that game at the time, so I was just looking for something different. But it was a little too different for me. So we'll have to see what comes down the pipe here. Um, so yeah, so hopefully we get some more Monster Hunter updates coming here soon. And I believe that was it for me. Um, yeah, I guess Cleese is still out. I don't want to take his article, so I'm sure he'll be back here shortly. But yeah, so Monster Hunter is supposed to come out here in the fall of 2018. They didn't. I'm sure I'm looking at this other article that I got up here, but they don't mention the exact date. But hopefully, we'll get one of those soon. Um, yeah, there's no exact date here. So I'll give you a little preview of what I guess Cleese is gonna go over here. So we got some Twitch Prime members. We'll be getting a pretty good game here coming out here in actually this month in February, and then also he's going to go over some Steam sales or a Steam sale that's going live now, I believe. So he can run through some of that. Um, but that is it for right now. Just trying to see if I can find anything else on Monster Hunter. Kind of want to don't I don't want to kind of go through, I guess, Cleese's, but I might have to, because once again, there was kind of not much as far as news here. So we'll see here what happens. One thing, well, here's a news article actually that I didn't get to last week, which is the Switch has actually. I think we might have mentioned this. I don't think on the show, the news show, maybe on the last episode of Enough to Keep Going podcast. But basically, the Switch has. Oh, looks like he's back.
Yep, sorry. One of the kids had an accident, so.
Oh, that's all right.
Grown-ups a game, right?
Of course.
So where are you in the rundown? Sorry about that.
I did both of my I did the Twitch news story in the Monster Hunter world. So if you have any comments on either of those, go ahead and I just finished that up a minute ago or so.
No, I mean it's good that Twitch's numbers are up. It further reinforces their need for the community guideline updates that they came out with this week. I saw some negative I don't know feedback on the internet, feeling that YouTube shouldn't be held to a higher standard, that Twitch had put a lot of things in place, but YouTube shouldn't be expected to follow. And I strongly disagree with that. My basic feeling on YouTube, and again, we were directly impacted by failures on YouTube's part, is that they rely too much on machine learning. And machine learning just isn't there. They don't have enough human beings to intervene. And by the same token, they don't establish logical, rational rule sets with clear thresholds, that people can follow. So, while the Paul Logans and the Jake Logans of the world get to do things on their YouTube channel that far exceed anything that we would have done. Like we were given a 3-month timeout just because I put Netflix in the title of a show, right? And then thereafter couldn't get anybody to pay attention, right, to the fact that something had gone wrong with their machine learning and that a human being needed to fix it. So, yeah. So we're not going straight from Twitch to Twitch, but we are going from one Eastern style design game to another Eastern style design game, from Monster Hunter World into Devil May Cry. So this is, I shouldn't have given the rest of the news rundown such short shrift. Actually, this is pretty exciting too. So Twitch Prime members are going to receive a PC version of Devil May Cry HD for free. So it doesn't take anything to become a Twitch Prime member. You are probably likely an Amazon Prime member already. And if you have a Twitch channel, you just need to link it to your Amazon Prime account. And there's really no more effort to go through than that. But starting February 27th, I believe it is, you will be able to go somewhere on Twitch. I'm not even sure exactly where. Log in via the Twitch desktop app, and you'll be able to claim your free game there. So unless it comes up like right in your face in a big splash page as soon as you log in, you may have to dig around for it. But it's a limited time offer. They're not saying what the time limit is. So I would just say if you're going to log in on February 27th, claim your free PC version of Devil May Cry HD as quickly as possible before that deal goes away.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I think there's a Twitch Prime section, but I got to log in to my account real quick. So go ahead.
There is when you log in, there's a little icon in the upper right-hand corner that has a numerical badge over it that tells you what Twitch Prime rewards you have in your queue that you haven't claimed yet. So it's a good chance that it'll show up there.
Yeah, probably. That's really cool. I don't think I've taken advantage of any of the Prime offerings, but this one I might.
Yeah, and I haven't, because none of them have been. It's not like PlayStation Plus or Xbox games with gold, right? Like the stuff that's come through just hasn't been anything in my interest area, and already the PC for me, and I know DBQ commiserates. The PC, my PC backlog and gaming collection is a high clutter environment as it is. So unless I see something in there that is really, honest to goodness, like a thing that I regret not having played, then I just don't bother claiming that stuff. So
yeah, I most of it was like DLC and stuff a lot of times.
Yeah,
like add-ons. It's like,
right. And I haven't racked up a lot of awards because I don't stream solely to Twitch, and I don't do it that frequently and that often. So
yeah.
So other people who were that is like your streaming home, that may be the thing for you. I really need to check out this thing Gray has, where it's I forget what the name of the service is. I retweeted one of the Gamer Show tweets from earlier this week that had it in there, but I guess he uses a service that broadcasts. You stream to this one service, and it forward passes your live stream to multiple streaming services. So he goes through one, and it forward passes his live stream to Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube, I think.
Oh, nice.
And apparently Facebook and Twitter live streaming have also become easier. I guess Facebook streaming is now integrated with BattleNet. So now that I finally overcame my resistance to be assimilated by, more publishers and their individual gaming services in order to play Destiny 2 on PC, I need to check that out because I've been wanting for a long time to check out live streaming to Facebook and Twitter. So I think that's pretty cool. So our last story of the night, and again, I feel like I'm going to go back and say this was not a shallow news week. Simply that without a lot of rumors and stuff going on, that things that to me are maybe arguably really important had a chance to shine through all of what might normally be a lot of noise. Free games is important, right? Cheap games are important, and frequently we don't hear that because somebody's claiming that a game is going to be delayed or something of that nature. So Steam has a thing called a Lunar New Year sale. I feel like Steam just needs more excuses to have sales. In fact, I kind of I guess it's kind of questionable since everything on Steam seems to always be on sale. Why there ever needs to be a specific sale? Um, but now we have the Lunar New Year sale. If you didn't hoard enough games that you're never going to play or finish over the holiday sale, you can come right back in less than 2 months and participate in the Lunar sale. So it went live today and goes until February 19th. So it's fairly short order stuff. Um, I'm going to say some discounted titles, but I'm betting it's like every other Steam sale, and they're going to rotate on a daily basis. So NBA 2K18 is up there. We heard DBQ give some good commentary on that during Tuesday night show. Senua's Sacrifice, which is a game that I kind of feel a little bit guilty about not playing, and kind of felt like it was snubbed by the industry in terms of the award shows. I'm hoping that it. I mean, I didn't. So the Dice Awards have not gone down yet, right? They're next week.
Yeah, I believe so. I haven't heard anything about those.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it gets its due at the Dice Awards, along with Horizon Zero Dawn. Cuphead is on sale, another critically acclaimed game. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which I'm very positive on because of I retweeted out a story today about CD Projekt Red CEO and his again firm stance on microtransactions, saying that we do them, but they're not loot. We're not doing loot crates, right? So Okami HD, Tekken 7, Neopire, and a few more. So there's a full list available over at the Steam store itself. These are not steep discounts. So NBA 2K18 is 35% off, so it's still at $40. I think a lot of gamers don't necessarily feel like something is a huge sale until it gets down to kind of the 50% mark. $40 still kind of feels like a pretty big chunk of change. Pyre is 50% off. Hellblade is 30% off, so it's down to $21. The Witcher 3 is 50% off and is at $20. Cuphead, which was already pretty inexpensive, 15% off, which puts it at $17. I think this is a big one. Tekken 7 is 50% off and is priced at $25. Tekken 7 for me is not a game that I want to play on PC. I don't think, although the advent of the utilization of the Xbox controllers being compatible with PC, which we've had for a while, but that might change my mind. Back when I used to play with like Logitech controllers and a lot of these PC hardware manufacturer only based controllers, I never felt like any of them were really good as a fighting pad, but clearly the Xbox One game pads are, game controllers are, so this might actually be worth checking out, particularly to see how it looks on a high powered rig, right, on a 4K screen. So I don't know, man. Do any of these titles entice you, or are you gonna continue to burrow down on the Switch?
Yeah, no, just just pretty much on the Switch now. So yeah, I don't have a super powerful PC, so PC gaming days are done for now, at least.
Yeah, but I think there are titles here that don't need it. Like Cuphead doesn't need a super powered PC, right?
No, probably not. No, and Akami might be all right too.
Right. I can't remember exactly. Neo might need a little more oomph, I guess. It's the game that came out last year along with Nier Automata, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hellblade and Sensua would, and 2K18 would, but and again, I am sure that there are plenty of other games on sale.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are thousands of games on sale over on the Steam store, including some older games that would play really well on an older PC. So
nice. Yeah. Like you said, they can just do, it's donut day and they'll have a Steam sale, so it doesn't matter.
But I will say this year. So this year's shaping up to be a little different, right? We don't have a really big. I mean, Monster Hunter is doing well, but I don't. But it's such a maybe it's a little bit broken out of just being a niche game. But I don't know that it's captured a super wide demographic of gamer. So I think for those people who play on PC, this year, whereas last year, right, this time of year we had either just gotten Resident Evil 7 or we're just about to get it. And that definitely occupied a lot of time and kind of bridged the gap from there to Horizon Zero Dawn. So last year I was definitely not paying attention to any kind of a Steam sale at this point in the year, but maybe this year, right? Maybe people have bandwidth to pay attention to a big Steam sale. So
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot of major releases this last couple months, so it's kind of weird because
no, and
usually last couple of years it's been like gangbusters. So, but
yeah, or at least definitely last year.
yeah, maybe they're
So,
waiting for the spring.
right,
We'll get
right.
hit. So, all
So
right.
that's it. So nicely done. So you're to be commended, Prime, despite my need to take off. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, there's no way Prime can riff for this long until I get back. I'm like, I'm gonna get back and the show's gonna be over.
I ended it.
So
Uh,
good on you. Thank you, fine sir, for
yeah,
carrying.
no problem. I went. I did a quick run through of not your articles, but just kind of the titles of your articles. That's kind of a preview. So, so I did kind of run out of material, so I started to go into. I dug into some news stories from last week. So I was just starting when you came back. So perfect timing. But yeah, I think episode 30 is in the books for what it is, but it's fine. I'm sure it came out fine. Yeah, I didn't mean to like poo poo the news stories, but I just there was nothing like super major.
No, I was right there with you as you guys were talking about that it was a light news week,
Yeah,
but then as I started reading them, I was like, well, I mean, there were those of us who love THQ, so it's glad to we're glad to see them back, and yeah, it's just a week where there may not have been as many news stories for everyone, but there may have been more news stories for some people,
yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah. All
All right,
right.
then. Anything else we got to cover before we get out of here?
I think that is it. Make sure you come back on next Tuesday for our Enough to Keep Going show, our core show. We'll go through our topic of the week for this coming week and just kind of a quick run through of our games that we've been playing this past week. And then come back here next Thursday for episode number 31 of E2KGn30. So for Mr. Agascles, I got any last words?
No, that's going to do it for us.
Nice. I will say goodnight. I am Osiris Prime, and we will see you next time.